right, so we're going to talk about KPIs in a remote company. Very different than a traditional business because you can't, physically see people coming in and out of an office. You can't, clock them in and out like that. And I'm not saying you should micromanage. What you need to do is focus on results. Results matter in a remote-based company. So what do I mean by that? I mean that if you are going to have a meeting and you ask for one or two or three things, you got to pay very close attention to, are those things getting done? Are they communicating with you kind of the steps or the hurdles they're encountering to kind of finish those tasks or those assignments? That is a very crucial thing for remote-based companies because, again, someone will ask something, they'll wait a week because they don't want to bother the person and then say, hey, oh no, sorry, it slipped my mind. Boom, you just lost a week. So you gotta set those expectations in your culture. And I talk about this in the other videos of how to conduct internal meetings and external meetings and kind of goal settings. But so one of the KPIs is be results driven, but a key component is separate out your leads, your closing cycle, your accounts, the upsells, how long it takes you to recruit. These are all key metrics for a remote company. So how many leads do you generate and how do you qualify those? I'm going to do a whole other series on, lead qualification and stuff. But basically, you need to know how many leads are coming into your company, what sources. That's one of the reasons why I recommended Zoho. You can track in the CRM with a million different sources you can customize on where your leads are coming from. Track those, how many of them led to a discovery or a demo or a product sale or whatever you got going on, and how many of those actually turned into revenue. And then from there, you're going to go down the channel of, okay, now that we have these accounts, what are my biggest accounts? What are the top, 5 or 10 revenue generating accounts or businesses or channels that I have, and track these weekly. Now, I use Google Docs. I hate spreadsheets, but I will tell you that taking information in a remote company from 30, 40 different sources and building out a nice Power BI dashboard is going to cost $250,000. You don't want to do that. Use a spreadsheet for now, but itemize that and track them on your weekly metrics on the KPI. It's very, very enlightening to see the numbers week after week, just kind of there on a snapshot of what's been going on. So you got your leads, how many of them turned into, a discovery or a demo or whatever it is that you're doing in your niche. And then from those, how much have it turned into revenue? How long it takes you to recruit. If you're recruiting, these metrics are key. How many people your team reached out to, how many interviews you had, and then the actual sales, right? I mean, businesses don't run for free. So tracking your sales, and you kind of seeing those numbers, hopefully they're going up. But during COVID, it looked like a seesaw for some of the companies I'm involved with. But anyhow, so keeping those KPIs is very important. The other thing you really want to watch out for is how many people voluntarily leave your company. That's not that important until it becomes important, which is you got a cycle going of multiple people leaving your company. It probably warrants you to look into it. So having voluntary folks that you keep track of voluntary attrition that leave and kind of having that cycle there is also a good thing to keep track of. And then your different departments. So once you've got your different departments, this will all roll up into that one spreadsheet that I talk about to kind of go over that on a weekly basis. We call them weekly management meetings where management personnel is on there and every person's kind of just reporting on their department. Again, if you've gone through the steps that I've mentioned in the other videos about controlling your structure, having the screens ready, it doesn't turn into 20 minutes of waiting on everyone to get on the call and saying, hey, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Hey, hello. Eliminating all that. Again, you're making more efficient meetings. And there's tools that I talk about in other videos for you guys to use to make them efficient. Another key performance indicator for me is your talk time on your video bridges. So if you use Zoom, you have the ability to go into the analytics and see how many meetings your people are having and how much talk time per person. This is, it's not a super telling metric, but there's hidden truth in this, in that if you've got certain people that are constantly on the bridge and interacting with people, and some people that are not, you may want to wonder, if they're in accounting, I got it, but there's a telltale sign there of how you can get to know the behavior of that. And that goes back to the hiring and firing videos that I did on kind of what to watch out for. These kind of things start telling a story. And that's really what you're reading in a remote company, right? Is the storyline. Don't be focused on the one, situation where a person just, was out of touch, but focus on the storyline. Do you see that happening often? The other KPI that we track is incidences. We call them incidences. So incidences to me is missed meetings. Reason or no reason doesn't matter. You just missed a meeting. Connectivity issues, or you had, you came to a meeting unprepared. When you're having these types of talks with your folks, it's really important that you understand if they show up to a meeting unprepared, they're just wasting everybody's time. If they come to a meeting and can't connect, they're wasting everybody's time. If they come to a meeting and the interaction with them creates friction, naturally they're going to want to step back, and you're going to start seeing more of that behavior. So keeping track of that, I think, is important to see kind of the storyline of those incidences. So those would be the top metrics I would track. I've done it for pretty much every company. I mean, now you've got your different niches of, if you're selling products, product returns, and maybe if you're doing other type of work, there's other KPIs in there. But those are the key things to do week after week on one Google Docs spreadsheet, line itemed out, week numbers going along the column, so you can analyze those every week and see what's going on. I think that's all I had for this time. If there's anything else you guys think you'd like me to talk about, please comment below. Happy to do so. Until next time, again, enjoy this beautiful view. We are absolutely blessed to live in this country. Thank you very much.